If the Pope can do a selfie, I guess I can too. I am sincerely apologize for not being able to be here for open house. It's the first time in 24 years that I won't be around for an open house. So I'm going to try something different, make a little presentation that hopefully, fingers are crossed, will run while you guys are here. Wouldn't want you to waste your time to come all the way down here and not have some sort of something. You can leave your name and an email address or something. If there's specific questions you have for me, give me a heads up and I will do my best to get a hold of you. I'm pretty good at answering emails right off the bat. Welcome to Mr. Deserto's Social Studies class, Curriculum Night 2013. I'm very sorry that I cannot attend tonight. This is the first time in 24 years that I will not be able to do a curriculum night or an open house. I am a fireman in Hamlin, as you can see, and this is something that I've been planning since July, and I didn't know that they were going to switch these things around, and Mr. Dale allowed me to be out, but I wanted to have something here for you. Okay. Social Studies, 7th grade, what do we study? The curriculum is anything in basically North American history, U.S. history, from people coming from Asia across the land bridge to post-Civil War. Okay, this is a basic level introduction to U.S. history. We do very, very, very basic, broad brush kind of stuff here. We don't get into a ton of specifics. We just don't have time. I have to cover, a million years literally, and like 250 years of American history. Now, if there's a specific thing that your child is interested in, that they want to study, there's extra credit. We can do all kinds of extra stuff. I love history. We can do extra stuff, but for the class, I got to kind of keep rolling. Okay. Common grade standards for all social studies classes. These are across the department. I don't really have any control of the percentages. I don't have any control over the percentages, but I do have some flexibility in between here. Homework is 15% of the scores. The tests, which that's the biggest one, that's why it's in red, is 40%. They gotta study. Kids gotta study for tests. They have to do good on that. I do allow makeups if the students do not do well on tests. Same thing with quizzes, but they just need to come in and say, hey, I want to take a makeup on that quiz or that test that I got a 65 or below on. The student work is 30% of their grade. That includes such big projects like the current events project that they will do once every quarter, and also the binder check, which is once every quarter, which I grade the binders. Next one down, spiral and binder. Your student needs to bring their binder and spiral every day. Every day we'll be taking stuff out of it, putting stuff into it. The more they forget their binder, the more difficult it is to keep organized. And honestly, in 7th grade, if they're organized, that's going to be a 90% of the battle. And if they're not organized, obviously it just makes things much, much more difficult. Classroom stuff, there's always a warm-up in the front of the class. The homework, there's always the homework up on the homework board for all the classes. I have in the back of the room extra papers and things that towards the end of this presentation, if we have time, I'll kind of do a quick walk around the room. Some people have gotten the no homework phone calls. I will have this. I have the students write their phone number down in their name if they don't hand me a homework assignment in that's supposed to be done. I generally try to call within that particular day. If it's before a free period, I'll do it during my free period. If not, I do it after school. Just basically to kind of let you in on the fact that nope, they didn't get their homework done. It's not a I'm not trying to be mean. It's just passing along information, and that works out pretty well. Just basically as a deterrent for not doing your homework, they know that they're going to get a phone call. Okay, the homework website. A lot of times in the past few years, I've had parents that they always talk about keeping track of what their kid's doing, and they're going on what is now Infinite Campus. The other grade program that we use that you could get a hold of last year was, I've already forgotten the name of that old one. Here's the thing about that, and I think that when you hear my explanation, you understand why I think this is important. The homework website I find way more important than the grade website. The grade stuff that's stuff that they did already. A lot of times students will hand work in, and I might not get around to grading it for a day or 2 days, a week. these DBQ essays, it takes me the better part of 2 or 3 weeks to get things graded. So the Infinite Campus, what the grades they got, that's in the past. I mean, obviously you want to kind of keep track and see if things are doing good or bad, but on a daily, everyday kind of basis of what you want to keep checking on, I would definitely focus on the homework website. That's what's due tomorrow. That's to keep them, on track for what they need to do for the next class. And are there tests coming up? You don't want to find out what the grade was on a test 2 weeks later. You want to know a week ahead of time that there's a test coming up. Gives you time to study and to do better on it. Okay, so the homework website is updated daily. There is just one homework website for the whole team, and it is spencerportschools.org. And I'll do a quick look at it, and so you guys can see just exactly what it is that we're doing. So it's the organization of social studies class is relatively simple. I need the students to bring their social studies binder and their social studies spiral to class every day. It's part of the overall organizational system that we got going on here. It's fairly easy, fairly simple, which is good for 7th grade because complicated organizational systems do not work for them, but they do need to be organized. That's, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, 50 to 80% of what they got going on here in 7th grade is if they're organized, they're going to be successful. If they're disorganized, they're going to have a lot more difficulty being successful. The social studies binder does need to have dividers in it. I haven't gotten into that yet. It's still very, very early in the year. I'll be looking for them to have those dividers in their binder probably in the next week or so. I do have extras in the front of the room for students, but they do need to divide their binder up into the different categories so they can throw stuff in there when they need to. Homework assignments. There's 10 points off every day a homework assignment is late. As I mentioned in the very beginning, we go very, very quickly. A homework assignment that's a week or two late is going to be so out of date and so useless to us. It's just really a kind of a waste of time to get that done. So if you could make sure that they get right on top of that homework, and again, that kind of goes back to what I was talking about before with the keeping track of what's going on for homework. What's due tomorrow, not what did you miss 2 weeks ago kind of thing. This doesn't include students that are absent. Tests and quizzes can be made up. And the last slide, these are some things that we just do in class, so you kind of get a basic understanding about some of the things. It's not every day that we do things like this first one, Socratic circles. Socratic circle is when literally the students will sit around in a circle and they will be answering questions that I've given them the night before, so they had time to study, time to come up with an answer. But they're basically large, no right answer, opinion type questions that they discuss with each other, and they have a chance to really hear and interact with each other about their opinions about these particular items. So now it's not a debate where they argue with each other. Socratic circles are the opposite. They explain themselves. They explore each other's ideas, and good things and bad things and stuff like that. It's no confrontation kind of thing. Current events. We do a current event assignment. It's a fairly large project that we do on a wiki page, and I was looking for them to interact with technology and to learn a little something about the world going on around them. The theme for the first quarter is going to be elections. There's going to be a ton more on this, a much more detailed explanation given to the students and things like that later on once we get a little bit farther into the school year. I do simulations where the students are up and pretending to do things in class a few times. It's not a ton. I wish I could do it more. If I had a time machine, we'd all go out and do that. But the last one for today is the textbook will be available online. It is not currently, but within the next week or two, I hope to type everybody's name in on the website and get all the new codes and all the rest of that stuff that I need to do. Once all of that is done, I will put it all down on paper and I will give it out to the students. There's also on the Social Studies Wiki and the homework website, I'll have links to this textbook online page once that's up and available. That's it. Thank you very much. If there's any more time, I'm going to put some extra stuff here at the end of this movie presentation thing, but this is the basic stuff that you absolutely positively had to have. The stuff that's going to be coming up from here on out is just gravy.